Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Space 2015. I'm Ivana Boysel. What is your name?
I'm Sophie Goldstein.
And what is the name of your business?
My pretty much everything is just under my name. I don't have my own publishing house. My work is at redinkradio.com, and Red Ink Radio is also my Twitter handle and Tumblr handle. So Red Ink Radio, I guess, but like not in a legal entity sense of being my business name.
Alrighty. How long have you been doing this as an art?
I started publishing comics online in 2009. I started this webcomic, Darren Carmichael's Going to Hell, so I was publishing this online twice a week from 2009 to 2013, and then my partner and I on the book, we did a Kickstarter to fund this monolithic thing. So originally it was supposed to be a paperback, and then we hit some stretch goals, so it became a hardcover with this spot gloss. I don't know if you can see that shininess. And there's a reading ribbon in here. So that was like my first venture. I mean, I was doing other comics projects while Darren Carmichael was going on, but I've only been a full-time artist without a second job in the past year.
How did you hear about space?
I do a lot of conventions, so I can't remember where exactly I heard about it, but you know, it's one of those shows, not like medium-sized regional shows, and I moved recently to Pittsburgh, and it's only a stone's throw away, so I figured I had a good reputation, and it wasn't that far, so why not? And this is my first year doing it.
Alrighty. Are you an artist, or a writer, or both?
Both.
Sweet. How did you get started in this field of art?
Gosh, well, I read Archie as a kid, and I really loved that, but when I was younger I wanted to be a novelist, and then I studied English in school, but I just had a big block about writing prose, and so comics kind of became my outlet for being creative, because I felt like it was a good balance of writing and drawing, which for me is like enjoyable but kind of meaningless, or not meaningless, but like not draining in the way that I find writing. So in college I started reading a lot of other indie comics and really getting into it, and then it was after college when I started going to I took 2 classes at the School of Visual Arts in New York, continuing education classes, and that was the first time that I started making comics, and that was like prior to starting my webcomic, Darren Carmichael.
Now, have you had formal schooling?
I have I have a BA from NYU in English and a MFA from the Center for Cartoon Studies.
What is your style as an artist, as in your type of story and messages?
I have a couple of different styles. I mean, they seem different to me, probably to a third party. You know, they all seem pretty similar, but Darren Carmichael is more of a kind of funny, goofy, cartoony style, and my other work is also cartoony, but The Oven is like more minimalist and kind of streamlined art. It's a dramatic, serious story, so there's not the even though it's very cartoony, it's not cartoonish, like the expressions aren't exaggerated and that sort of thing. And then House of Women, which is this is part 1 of like a 3-part book that I'm working on, and this is kind of a deviation from my other stuff because it was inspired a lot by Art Nouveau, and so I tried to reflect that in kind of the page design and the strong black and white and the look of it. So this one, and this is also inked with a brush, where the others are inked with a pen, so that also contributes to it like looking kind of different.
Do you have a certain audience for your work?
I always thought that my audience would be other women within a 10-year range of my own age. But I've had, Dawn Carmichael had a lot of teen and younger readers, even though the characters in it are post-college age. And my other work, I feel like there's an even balance of men and women and like all different age ranges and things like that. So I've been surprised by not having like a super specific type of person. I mean, it's definitely like the kind of people that are into superhero comics are not going to be super into my work, but that's fine because I'm not super into superheroes.
How do you market your products?
I have my website, but I don't think my website is being great marketing. It's just something that I can direct people to when I meet them at conventions or when I'm trying to like show a client what I do. I am on Twitter and I have Tumblr and Facebook, and I use those to kind of publicize like events that I'm doing and publications I have going out. And tabling at shows is great because you meet new people, but you also get to meet other creators, which is like the best to kind of like grow your associations, because once you know enough people in the community, then they kind of help spread the word when you have something new coming out. And I do send new stuff to reviewers, so that can help.
Alright. How do you publish your works?
So House of Women, my mini comics, and Dawn Carmichael are all self-published essentially. And then my latest book, The Oven, is published by Ad House Books, which is a traditional comics publishing house. It's one of the smaller ones, but that was my first experience with like traditional publishing, where I'm sending off my files and then they just magically get turned into a book. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to somebody who has an interest in this field of art?
Gosh, I mean that's a pretty broad question, but I think there's a lot of people that talk a lot about making stuff, but the follow-through is often lacking, especially with younger creators. So my advice would just be to like make a mini comic. Like don't that big epic, like so many people have these like huge Star Wars size giant epics are like 500 pages and so this huge cast of characters, and that will like I'm going to say like that will never get done. Like maybe like 0.05% of people who have those ideas are going to have the follow through to do them. So I would say like make a mini comic, 8 pages, 12 pages, do the best that you can, print it, bring it to shows, give it to people, trade it for other people's books. Like you don't even need to table when you're starting out. You just just make your book and trade it, give it to people whose art you admire. Like I think that's the best way you can just kind of get involved and get your art out there, and just don't be shy to show people your work, but like have something that's complete in and of itself that you can give to people, and like take that epic and just like file it away for when you've made a couple hundred pages of comics. Then you can think about like, okay, now I'm going to do my blankets. That's a big commitment, so start small.
Alright. What makes this event different from the others you have attended previously?
I mean the crowd of people is different because this is like a Midwestern show, and I do a lot of East Coast shows. So I think that's the major difference, is I'm meeting some people that otherwise I wouldn't cross paths with, and that's great. It's always great.